Alright, hello and welcome to the next tutorial of the Talos Principal Editor. Today we're gonna do a bit with Crumbs, yeah. So I have to say, yep, Soleil's had a really great post again to my last two episodes where I accidentally did some things wrong again, or he did just have tips. And yeah, a big help for baking GI light, and this is the thing we will cover in the next tutorial. And yeah, in this tutorial we will just do basic crumbs in all level. So the first tip Solis told me is if you basically press 6 on your numpad, you see the in-game view. I didn't knew that, but that's really helpful. So you see the in-game view with the sky and the shadows and the post-processing and final. It's really helpful for seeing how the scene will look in-game. And pressing 9 on, yeah, if you press 3 you get this, and if you press 9, you actually, on the numpad you actually are back into our, yeah, regular editor view. If you press 3, you see it. We are basically inside, as you see, the map, and you see we have this big selection, and pressing 9 again will lead us back to where we was, and yeah, pressing 3 gives us this cool looking gives us this cool looking yeah, how to describe this? It's from all perspectives, and if you take a look what Soleil said before, um, the moving with holding space and left mouse button works here. So you see holding space and then move with the mouse button works, and yeah, so this escape move which I use does not work in here, so maybe it's better to hold space and then move your mouse, and if you use the mouse wheel you can adjust the brightness or the EV, and using the mouse wheel, using the right mouse button will zoom in and out. And this is actually pretty useful, I think, because you see over here, we can basically see it from all sides, and that's really cool about, um, well, I don't know if that is supposed to happen, but I think it's really cool to see the map from the top, from all perspectives. So pressing 9 again will lead us to this way, and pressing 6 will lead us to this way. Okay, so let's do about crumbs. Crumbs are grass and flowers and everything you see on the ground, which makes the level actually a bit more realistic than just having a plain grass surface, which is not really cool. So yeah, you go into the entity list. Oh yeah, another thing Soleil said, pressing N will pop up this big list, which is at the start really oversized, so you need to pick up the atlas and resize it. And then you get this real cool entity list, which is actually better than this entity list which we have down here. So yeah, pressing N will bring that up, and you see all models in here, from the class, the name, the platforms, the location, the number, and if it's locked or not. So I really like this. I knew about this window, but I haven't used it much. So you can check only importance. This does show the models which are for the game logics and not for yeah, for the visuals. And expand properties. Um, I don't know what this does. That does nothing for me. So yeah. So we will go into the entity list over here and go to the crumbs and drag one into our level. As you see, this is basically like this little, it's like a cylinder, no, not a cylinder, a cone, that's the right word. And yeah, that's for the crumbs. So we need to configure it. First we've got the target over here, and we select the target by um, selecting our ground. So as we selected an activator for this laser barrier, we can do Control and Alt while this target slot is selected and click on the ground to select the ground in this slot. Okay, now grass. Now we go to Crumbs config and we can change browse. And in the folder content tailors levels Crumbs configuration we got many configurations, level specific configurations, or just generic ones. So we have grass and flowers 1, 2, too far, darker, Egypt, and roam far, grass only, and gravel stones. So I take grass and flowers 0, 1, and once you have this, um, yeah, you actually have um, the crumbs config, and if you now hit Shift B to bake it, you see nothing happens because we have not the texture which basically defines where we want to have grass or not. So we need to do this first. So this is under Crumbs layout. We go under Crumbs layout, hit new and see Crumbs layout. Expand that and we see tile size X, tile size Z and the baker. And the baker we need to create. So you go new, see crumb map baker, and this extends another options. And what we will do is go to the crumb chance mask. And here we click again, go to new and to see static texture. Click on it, it will expand and you can select for the texture the width and height. So you basically don't need an oversized texture. So for me it's perfect to use 128 by 128, so put these values in here. Leave the other settings as is, go to local and then save it. Inside our tutorial level folder I save it crumbs mask and hit save. Then this texture is saved and if you take a look it's black. And after you did this you can bake again, you see nothing happens. And this is because we don't have painted any information on this texture where crumbs will be. So the first thing I will show you is under the crumb config you see which crumbs are in here. These are basically just models. Like this is one grass, small bushes, yellow flowers and some gravel stones. And these are yeah, linked to a channel and I will show you this. So once you have all this, you go to your mesh where you want to apply the foliage. This is the ground here. Press E to get into the metal editor, mesh editor. Man, speaking is not my strength in English. And we're putting the shader on. And yeah, first what you do is press N. And this comes up with this brush thingy. It says please select your VMap and please select target texture, and it says tool.paint displace tool. So if we go to tools now, we have some things to change. First we have displace, and what this does, it's for terrain reasons. So this is really cool. I can show you this. If you have your yeah, pressing Alt B brings up this palette window, which basically it's like paint. You can adjust the strength of the brush, so you see now it's not so strength, and with the mouse wheel you can adjust this too, and the size, which you can also. It's like paint, and then you can select the color here, but you always keep this at white, and yeah, the mask for this. Yeah, and then the size, so I keep the size at this. Yeah, so this place does, it basically is for terraining, and if I do this not so hard and make the size a bit smaller, you see if I click and drag like I paint, you see I can basically paint displacements. Control Y to reset that. So making this brush really light allows you to, yeah, just make little displacements over here. Really not good, looking good, but this allows you. So let's find a way to, yeah, I really want to use this here. So make the brush size even more smaller, and we're gonna, yeah, that's obviously too hard. So making a terrain looking good is a hard thing. So I try to paint this. My skills are not really great in this, so yeah, there's a really cool tool. If you have this, you see it's displaced. If you go to operation, there's a smooth one, and using this on hard edges will make the edges not so hard anymore. So we can make this more hard, and you see this makes the vertices not so hard and even smooth, and this makes the whole thing even look better. So click and drag to paint here, and then we can make our little, yeah, I don't know what we did here, more smoother. So you see now it's looking much better because it's smoothed. So it's way better. That about the terrain displacement. So with this you can basically do everything. You can do mountains, you can even do valleys, that you can do if you go to displace, and hit control while painting. This makes it black, and you see we can paint holes inside our map. Also looks shitty, but yeah, we can just do a little hole inside the terrain, maybe here, by just hitting control and painting some in here. You see we've got made a little hole, and using then the smooth tool also smooth this thing out. Maybe we smooth this a bit at the edges. Okay, so that's all about terraforming. Okay, so now we get to the crumbs. For that we go to operation and go RGBA channels. And there's again this red annotation that tells us we need a UV map and a target texture. The target texture is the texture, which is here, which we basically created, the crumbs mask texture. So select this, and this arrow will be gone. And now we need to select the UV map. For this we go to the T button down here, and select the texture UV map. And then the arrow is gone and we can start painting. So you need to understand we have 4 crumb channels we can use. We have R, G, B and A. So if we paint R, we basically just paint the first crumb layer. If we print G, we just have the second layer. If we print B, we have just the third layer, and A is the fourth layer. And those layers are, I show you this, those layers are inside the crumbs config. So let's go away here. You see under here this is RGBA. And okay, I want all crumbs to apply. I want not only yellow flowers, I want all, because this looks the best. So what we will do is we put a bit bigger and start painting. So we can just paint on the whole surface white. So I'm going here and click and drag to just paint this, and if you see, if you take a look, if you press F3 or hold F3 on the text clarifier, you see what I painted white right now was a little frame. So you can even go around the frame once more, and you see now we got the frame and the inside is black. So this would result that we only have crumbs at the frame and not in the inner. But I want crumbs everywhere, so I just go and click and drag the brush over every surface in here. Then you can check, is everything right? Okay, something's black. You can basically paint again. So it's like paint. It's like you paint on a surface. Okay, alright, that looks good. We're gonna basically leave it as is. And the only thing I don't wanna have is I don't wanna have crumbs on the pressure plate. That looks ugly. So we're gonna decrease the size a bit. That's good. And then we can basically use control, which makes the brush black, to reverse painting, as we did this with the making holes in the terrain. So I paint now with black under the pressure plate, and you see in the texture there's the little black point where our pressure plate is. So there will be no crumbs. Once we did this, we can press N to exit the paint mode, and we can press E to exit the mesh editor mode, and the texture is finished. So don't forget to save this texture. So we go here and save it. And now it's the final way to bake this. So we hit Shift B, and you see all is populated with very beautiful flowers. And you see flowers are everywhere except here, because here it's black. Here it won't apply any. Okay, there is some foliage. Huh. Some foliage is there. But yeah. So you see some things are black. If we go into the in-game view, it looks really nice. Um, but we need to bake this with the probe light, because the probe light thinks there is no grass. So what we will do is Shift B it, and now we have the probe light onto that newly created foliage. And what you can do is modify some things. So gap size, if you put this bigger, the gaps between the foliage will be bigger. So you see there is really big gaps between. And if you put this smaller, this actually creates more foliage on more place. So if you you see this is now really big, but that's so it does not lag, but I have a bit less FPS, but it's looking cool. But we keep this at 1, so it, or maybe a bit less, like this. Then the randomized position ratio is how random this is positioned. So you see, moving this will just keep this at 1. Maximum distance is the render distance. If we stand here, it says 30, so 30 meters up to there, those will be rendered and then culled. And yeah, cast dynamic shadows is do they cast shadows? They actually do. So you can just keep this. Ignore distant lights is just, if we check this, it will ignore the sunlight and will be black. So that's not that great. And yeah, once we did this, you see we have beautiful looking flowers in our map. And they're actually really great. So you see now some flowers in here are black. And that is because the lighting is not built. Yeah, we did not build the lighting. It's not GI, it's not global illumination. And that's the thing we will cover in the next tutorial. In the next tutorial we will bake the global illumination, create the global illumination, and make light maps. And this will cause the whole map to having a bit better shadows, a bit sharper shadows, but even not go on the resources. You see, I have now 106 FPS, 100, 111, and if we have GI, the performance will be better, because he's not calculating the light at runtime. He is just taking this from a map, which is the key reason for using this is just the key reason for using baked GI. And this is the thing we will cover in the next tutorial. So, yep, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope your map is now filled with crumbs, and we will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.